Throughout the centuries, humanity has seen a journey of the mind unfold, moving away from spiritual pursuits. Our intellect, which is a part of the spiritual essence, now focuses on external aspects of nature and life. This shift has created a modern tragedy, where we recognize our spiritual essence, yet fill it with material concerns. This disconnect is a profound sorrow within us, even if we try to ignore it. It's like a tear in the fabric of our spiritual being, a fundamental issue of our time. To explain further, consider the spiritual forces present in nature, which we absorb as we immerse ourselves in the natural world. These forces, often called Ahrimanic powers, pose a danger to our intellect. In the past, when our intellect still held onto the remnants of an ancient spiritual understanding, these powers didn't wield as much influence. But now, as we focus on the material aspects of nature, we unknowingly invite these Ahrimanic powers into our spiritual realm. Some might wonder why such powers are allowed in the divine scheme of things. The answer lies in understanding that while earthly matters can be grasped with our everyday understanding, understanding the spiritual realm requires a deeper spiritual insight. So what we must acknowledge is that these powers indeed exist, but understanding their connection with the divine spiritual forces takes time. In fact, comprehending the powers beyond human reach might be beyond our grasp entirely. We can only recognize their presence through spiritual insight. Now, let's talk about what these Ahrimanic beings are up to. Their goal is to thwart Earth's natural development, as intended by the divine spiritual powers linked to humanity's essence. In essence, they aim to keep humanity tethered to earthly concerns, preventing our evolution beyond the material realm. Their strategy involves solidifying the Earth's state, trapping humanity within its confines. If they succeed, humans risk becoming stagnant, unable to progress spiritually, and remaining confined to earthly matters. However, if Earth were to succumb to the influence of these Ahrimanic powers, humanity would lose touch with its spiritual roots and the guiding forces that shaped its evolution. While outwardly, human development may align with Earth's trajectory, internally, our innate potential for spiritual growth would be stifled. In the past few centuries, the intellect remained anchored in spiritual understanding, shielding humanity from the full impact of these powers. But since the turn of the 20th century, things have shifted. Ancient Indian wisdom foresaw this change, marking the end of a dark era and the beginning of a new age. This new age signals a shift away from clinging to old spiritual beliefs and towards embracing new spiritual enlightenment in our earthly lives. The event I've discussed in previous talks, where certain dark spirits were expelled from the spiritual realm and descended into the human realm in 1879, carries immense significance. We must ponder deeply what it means when we say that a battle unfolded over decades in the spiritual realms. This conflict began in the early 1840s and concluded when these rebellious spiritual entities were defeated in 1879, banished to the realm of human existence. Now, they dwell among us, influencing not just our thoughts about the world, but also our inner emotions, desires, and even our personalities. Without recognizing the connection between the physical and spiritual worlds, and acknowledging events like this, people will struggle to grasp the significance of current and future events. Currently, many only attribute importance to natural phenomena and historical events within the physical world. However, to truly understand the complexities of human experiences, we must also consider spiritual events, accessible through spiritual science. This event highlights the folly of relying solely on concepts and definitions when interpreting the world, rather than observing reality directly. We often feel compelled to understand complex spiritual entities like Ahriman and Lucifer through definitions alone. However, an anecdote illustrates the limitations of this approach. In ancient Greece, a school defined a human as a two-legged creature without feathers. A student humorously demonstrated the inadequacy of this definition by bringing a plucked rooster to school, claiming it fit the definition of a human. This story emphasizes the importance of moving beyond rigid definitions and embracing a deeper understanding of reality through direct observation and insight. Many definitions, both scientific and otherwise, are widely accepted and often align with truth to some extent. However, in anthroposophy, we must avoid relying solely on such abstract definitions. They may provide a basic understanding, but they fall short in truly grasping the deeper realities. For instance, we can define spirits of darkness, but this alone doesn't lead us far in understanding their true nature and purpose. While it's true that these spirits descended to Earth in 1879, this fact only scratches the surface. The spirits of darkness we encounter today are akin to those that played significant roles throughout human history, from the Atlantean Age to Greco-Latin times. They were tasked with specific missions during these epochs, orchestrated by higher spiritual entities guiding human evolution. Reflecting on their tasks over millennia, we must remember that these spirits, though often associated with negative connotations, once had intentions aligned with humanity's best interests. They aimed to grant humans absolute freedom and individuality, even if humanity wasn't yet prepared for such autonomy. During ancient times, Lucifer's temptations and the collaboration between Lucifer and Ahriman influenced human evolution profoundly. These spiritual struggles prompted counteractions from benevolent spirits, striving to guide humanity towards higher ideals. Despite the noble intentions of the spirits of darkness, humanity wasn't ready for the level of freedom they sought to bestow. To counterbalance the influence of Lucifer and Ahriman, the spirits of light devised a plan to ground humanity in earthly experiences. Symbolically portrayed as the expulsion from paradise, this plan involved embedding humans in the stream of hereditary traits, rather than allowing them to remain solely in the realm of the spirit. Lucifer and the Ahrimanic powers sought to accelerate human spiritual development, envisioning each person as an independent entity. However, this rapid spiritual progression was deemed premature. Instead, humans were destined to undergo earthly education and development, a process facilitated by their integration into the hereditary stream. By inheriting physical traits from their ancestors, humans became tethered to the earth, laden with earthly characteristics that Lucifer had not intended. The spirits of light intervened by orchestrating the laws of physical heredity, ensuring a balance between spiritual and earthly influences. This tethering to the earth was symbolized in ancient religions through numerous depictions of procreation and heredity. In both Judaism and pagan religions, meticulous regulations governed matters related to heredity, as these laws served to prepare humanity for the eventual advent of Christianity. The importance of blood relations in tribal, national, and racial contexts underscored the societal structures of ancient civilizations. This emphasis on blood ties, established during the Atlantean Age and reinforced in subsequent epochs, particularly the Greco-Latin epoch, was a deliberate echo of past ages. The priests of ancient mysteries, akin to today's statesmen, played a pivotal role in crafting laws that reflected and upheld these blood relationships. These laws, rooted in the careful study of racial, national, and tribal connections, aimed to maintain order and harmony within each region. Understanding the intricacies of human development and societal organization in the third and fourth post-Atlantean ages requires an appreciation of the meticulous attention given to racial, national, and tribal relationships by the priestly orders. The laws they enacted were crafted to uphold the sanctity of blood ties and ensure the smooth functioning of society within each region. During ancient times, as the spirits of light sought to organize human affairs based on blood relationships, the spirits of darkness, cast down to earth alongside humanity, worked against these bonds. They instigated rebellion against societal structures rooted in hereditary ties, advocating for individual independence and freedom from familial and tribal constraints. Their influence persisted until around the 15th century, when echoes of their teachings continued to manifest, challenging traditional notions of kinship and nationality. This dichotomy between the forces of light and darkness, one advocating for the preservation of blood ties and the other promoting individual autonomy, persisted throughout history. Even in 1413, a significant year marking the transition between the fourth and fifth post-Atlantean ages, the old ways did not cease abruptly. The influence of both streams endured, shaping societal dynamics and beliefs. However, a notable shift occurred in the 19th century, particularly after the events of 1879. Angelic spirits, members of the angelic hierarchy, began actively intervening in human affairs. While similar to the spirits of darkness, these angelic beings were cast down to earth only after the pivotal event of 1879. Prior to this, they had fulfilled their roles in the spiritual realms. This event marked another significant break in human evolution, following previous breaks in 747 BC before the mystery of Golgotha, and in 1413 AD after the mystery of Golgotha. Throughout history, spirits of darkness have been active on Earth, while related spirits of darkness remained in the spiritual realm. The decisive battle I mentioned earlier began in 1841, prompting the related spirits to descend and join their earthly counterparts. Over time, the influence of the old rebellious spirits of darkness, who had been active since Lemurian and Atlantean times, has waned as the power of their counterparts has grown. This shift started in the latter part of the 19th century, leading to a reversal of roles. Previously, spirits of light had focused on establishing bonds based on blood, tribal, and racial connections in humanity. However, as evolution progressed, their roles shifted. Now, they inspire individuals to develop independent thoughts, feelings, and a desire for freedom. Meanwhile, the spirits related to the old spirits of darkness have taken on the task of working within blood bonds. The functions of these spiritual entities have evolved over time. What was once the domain of the spirits of light has now been taken up by the spirits of darkness. From the late 19th century onwards, these spirits have influenced human minds to prioritize tribal, blood, and hereditary bonds, contrary to their previous rebellious nature. This demonstrates the complexity of defining these spiritual forces. Their functions have shifted over time, making it impossible to define them based solely on their past roles. In the past, spirits of darkness worked against hereditary traits in humanity, but since the late 19th century, they have emphasized and reinforced these very traits. These truths may be difficult for modern society to accept, yet they remain undeniable. Throughout history, humans have ingrained a strong emphasis on blood bonds, allowing the spirits of darkness to exploit these ingrained ideas. Consequently, we witness a fervent insistence on tribal, national, and racial relationships, particularly evident in the 19th century. While perceived as idealistic, this insistence actually signals a decline in humanity. When under the influence of the spirits of light, the emphasis on blood bonds facilitated progress. However, under the sway of the spirits of darkness, it becomes a harbinger of decline. These dark spirits worked diligently in the past to instill a rebellious sense of independence precisely when positive hereditary traits were being passed on by progressive forces. In the ages that follow until the looming catastrophe, the spirits of darkness will intensify their efforts to preserve old hereditary characteristics, perpetuating attitudes that contribute to humanity's decline. Understanding the present requires awareness of the shift in function that occurred in the late 19th century. While ideals of race and nation once aligned with progressive tendencies, they now signify regression. Presenting these ideals as progressive is misleading and detrimental to human advancement. Propagating notions of race, nation, and blood as ideals obstructs true progress and perpetuates outdated ideologies, preserved by Luciferic and Ahrimanic influences. The true ideals for humanity must emerge from the spiritual realm, transcending the limitations of blood ties. The Christ, set to manifest in a specific form during the 20th century, will not align with the ideals upheld by contemporary society. In earlier times, Michael, the spirit from the archangelic hierarchy, represented Yahweh. However, since 1879, he has been entrusted with the earthly representation of Christ, tasked with fostering spiritual connections among humanity in place of purely physical blood bonds. Spiritual communion, replacing outdated blood ties, introduces a progressive element into the natural trend of decline. It's crucial to understand that this decline is inherent to human development, much like how individuals cannot remain children forever, but must mature and undergo bodily changes. Humanity has transitioned from the fourth post-Atlantean age into the fifth, with the subsequent sixth and seventh ages representing old age in our current stage of evolution. Persisting with outdated ideals into these later stages is as unwise as insisting adults continue learning their ABCs because it benefits children. Proposing a global social structure based on national blood ties, such as the Wilsonian concept, is not only antiquated but aligns with Ahrimanic influences. Accepting these universal truths, independent of blood bonds, is challenging for many. These truths originate from the spiritual realms and transcend earthly limitations. However, resistance to this true progress is pervasive, with phrases like freedom of nations used to perpetuate regressive ideologies. The dissemination of these phrases, contrary to the spiritual realities brought forth since November 1879, reflects humanity's reluctance to embrace genuine evolution. The destiny of mystery truths has always been to challenge the status quo, going against the current of comfortable conformity and aligning with the true stream of evolution. As the world resists this genuine progress, it remains to be seen whether a small group, free from blood prejudices, will emerge to recognize the significance of the events unfolding since 1879. The present events have been anticipated by initiates across nations, who predicted a resurgence of reactionary sentiment rooted in blood ties, falsely perceived as idealistic. To navigate these times wisely, we must observe beyond surface opinions and phrases, rising above ourselves to discern the signs of the times. Those who cling to blood prejudices align themselves with downward trending streams, while those attuned to upward trends must vigilantly oppose regressive forces. It's essential to recognize both the ascending and descending trajectories of life, avoiding the foolish inclination to reject Lucifer and Ahriman outright. Ignoring these spiritual forces only amplifies their influence. To judge human affairs accurately, we must consider both upward and downward impulses without falling into biases. In modern science, two streams have emerged: Goetheanism and Darwinism. While I've consistently acknowledged the significance of Darwinism, it's been in contrast to Goetheanism, which emphasizes the ascending line of organic evolution beyond mere physical existence. Recognizing this duality allows for a comprehensive understanding of life's evolution. The dialogue between Goethe and Schiller sheds light on their differing perspectives. When Goethe presented his archetypal plant diagram, Schiller remarked that it wasn't empirical, but rather an idea. Goethe's response, asserting that he saw the spiritual element in everything, exemplifies his belief in the potential for elevation to the highest spheres through his theory of evolution. While Goethe's theory initially focused on organic evolution, it hints at the evolution of the spirit, a concept humanity must embrace from the fifth post-Atlantean age onward as we become increasingly inward. Goetheanism, rooted in Goethe's principles, holds promise for the future, aligning with the broader principles of anthroposophy. In contrast, Darwinism primarily considers physical evolution from external materialistic perspectives, outlining a trajectory that diminishes over time. While Darwinism synthesizes past discoveries, understanding Goethe requires transcending these limitations to grasp ever-new laws of existence. Both approaches are valuable, and the challenge lies in integrating them rather than favoring one over the other. In the future, individuals will need to imbibe spiritual impulses to rejuvenate their inner lives, regardless of physical aging. While physical signs of aging may persist, those attuned to spiritual growth can experience inner rejuvenation, carrying these impulses beyond death's threshold. This spiritual evolution, akin to Darwin's theory of aging, holds significance for navigating the impending cataclysm, akin to the Earth's death. To traverse this cataclysm successfully, humanity must harness the youthful power inherent in Goetheanism and spiritual evolution, much like how an individual's rejuvenated soul transcends death's threshold. Humanity's journey from heaven to earth, metaphorically speaking, involved the spirits of darkness laying a foundation for human independence amidst the prevalence of laws governing heredity, nationality, and race. This dynamic is illustrated diagrammatically. Before the influence of Lucifer, humanity was connected with the entire cosmos, including the earth, symbolized in violet. The introduction of hereditary traits by Lucifer and Ahriman united humanity with the earth, depicted in yellow. Thus, Lucifer and Ahriman, despite their negative connotations, served as catalysts for human evolution. As we progress, human beings find themselves firmly rooted on Earth, yet the influence of Luciferic and Ahrimanic spirits persists as they are cast down from heaven. This necessitates a shift. Individuals must recognize their spiritual essence and their connection to realms beyond the earthly. It becomes imperative for humans to realize that only a part of their essential nature is tethered to the earth, fostering a growing awareness of belonging to the spiritual world. In earlier times, this realization was obscured by misconceptions, leading to misguided ascetic practices aimed at mortifying the physical body. However, true spiritual growth does not entail physical deprivation, but rather an alignment with the essence of the spiritual realm. Understanding this concept requires transcending mere knowledge of the physical world. It necessitates a deeper connection with the spiritual essence of existence. Reflecting on history, we recognize humanity's deep-rooted connection to the earth, especially evident until the end of the Greco-Latin epic. While this connection was beneficial in its time, it must not overshadow our current spiritual development. Instead, we must embrace a broader awareness of our cosmic belonging and strive to unite ourselves with the spiritual essence of existence. The advancement of physical science, epitomized by Copernicanism, has metaphorically torn humanity away from the Earth in a physical sense by redefining our understanding of our place in the cosmos. Copernicanism shifted our perspective, positioning the Earth as a small body in space, albeit primarily in spatial terms. This shift, however, must extend beyond the physical realm and encompass our soul awareness. Consider the example of America, where a new population predominantly consisting of Europeans has settled in recent times. Despite this transplantation, careful observation reveals that physical life remains intricately bound to the soil. Over time, these European settlers in America gradually acquire traits reminiscent of the indigenous Native American population, a phenomenon attributed to adaptation to the new environment. This adaptation manifests physically, evidenced by differences in body proportions between Americans living in the West and those in the East. However, while physical adaptation to the soil persists, the evolution of the soul must follow a different trajectory. The soul of humanity cannot remain tethered to the physical and earthly realm. Instead, individuals must strive for spiritual independence, transcending the confines of physical characteristics dictated by geographical location. Thus, while physical bodies may adopt traits influenced by the soil, the souls of individuals must strive to emancipate themselves from the physical realm and embrace citizenship in the spiritual worlds. In these spiritual realms, traditional notions of races and nations dissolve, giving way to relationships of a more profound nature. It is imperative to grasp these concepts amidst the backdrop of significant global events, refraining from clinging to outdated prejudices masquerading as new ideals. Only by embracing this broader perspective can humanity navigate the transformative currents of our evolving world.